In any event, she's obviously an incredible star. She's totally revitalized interest. Well, I mean, vitalized interest in the WNBA in a way it never was before.
All right, let's cut through all the noise and narratives. Megyn Kelly just dropped the truth that's got the WNBA shaking in their boots. She's exposed their anti-Caitlin Clark plan, and it's way worse than we thought.
I feel like I'm getting hammered.
The numbers don't lie. Clark's bringing in triple the viewers, but the WNBA is treating her like she's a nobody. In fact, worse than a nobody. I'm talking about fouls that'd make the NHL look like it's pickleball, and a marketing strategy that acts like Clark doesn't even exist. In this video, we'll explore if this is just a mere coincidence, or is there something more to it than meets the eye? Something's rotten in the state of women's basketball, and we're about to blow the lid off this whole thing. Did the WNBA just fumble the bag? Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
Came in and is getting all this attention. Nobody disputes that she's an amazing basketball player, but still they seem resentful and angry toward her. And it's resulted in physical alterations on the court that don't get called as fouls, that the girls then deny were intentional. And Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never, points the finger.
Let's be real. The WNBA just can't handle Caitlin Clark. She's like a walking highlight reel in a league that's used to being ignored, and it's driving them crazy. Clark's arrival was supposed to be this big moment, right? Everyone thought she'd save women's basketball, bring in the crowds, and finally get people talking about the WNBA. Well, guess what? She's doing all that. But the league seems determined to make her life miserable. You'd think they'd be rolling out the red carpet for Clark, but nope. Instead, she's getting knocked around like a pinball out there. We're talking elbows, trips, and accidental collisions that look about as accidental as a car crash in a demolition derby. And the refs? They're acting like they left their whistles at home. It's a joke. Take that game against the Connecticut Sun. Clark ends up with a black eye courtesy of Dejanay Carrington's fingernails, and the refs are just standing there like it's a Sunday picnic. No foul, no nothing. And Carrington has the nerve to say, "I didn't even know I hit her, actually. Oh, please."
So she goes for the ball, and then look, she points her hand down after the play, after the ball is past this player from the Sun. And it seems very clear she bends her fingers into Caitlin's eyes. There it is. She could pull her hand away. She didn't. And Caitlin had a black eye, and it was not called as a foul. And then she was seen celebrating on the sideline and laughing with a teammate.
The numbers don't lie. Clark's games are pulling in an average of 1.18 million viewers. That's triple what the rest of the league gets. The WNBA should be throwing her a parade, but instead, they're treating her like she's the enemy. Megyn Kelly nailed it when she said, "What's happening to Clark is just that bad." The league is letting this bullying continue without consequence, and it's not just unfair, it's downright stupid. They've got a superstar on their hands, someone who could take the WNBA to new heights, and they're acting like she's a problem to be solved.
That looked intentional, right? Typically when somebody does get hit in the face or you're trying to block something, you don't put your fingers down like that. Your hand swipes, and maybe your hand makes contact with their face. We see this in basketball all the time. It's intentional foul. Somebody tries to block somebody shooting a layup, and they hit him in the back of the head or on the face, and that ends up being a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2, depending on how they call it.
You know what's really wild? While Clark's out there getting swatted on the court, the league can't even be bothered to put her face on their promo materials. It's like they're allergic to success. They've got this golden goose laying viewership eggs left and right, and they're trying to clip her wings. The biggest irony? It's Clark's dream to play in the WNBA. She wants the league to succeed. Clark's proving that women's basketball can be a powerhouse if played and officiated the right way. The WNBA is shooting itself in the foot, and they don't even seem to realize it. They've spent years begging for attention, crying out for more viewers and more respect. Now they've got it all gift-wrapped in the form of Caitlin Clark, and they're acting like it's a curse instead of a blessing. Look, I get it, change is hard, but this isn't just change. This is evolution. With Clark, the sport can be fun, exciting, joyful, team basketball. Clark is showing what women's basketball can be, and instead of embracing it, the WNBA is clinging to its old ways. It's pathetic, and it's going to cost them big time if they don't wake up and smell the coffee. Let's be clear for a second. No one is asking for special treatment. Everyone is just asking for fair treatment, calling things as they are, and proper officiating so that fans and players can focus on the game instead of the extracurriculars.
So the fact that they're attacking her just shows you the WNBA continues to drop the ball on this whole issue. They got given the greatest gift of all time.
So here we are, watching this circus unfold. On one side, you've got Caitlin Clark, breaking 62 records and drawing record crowds. On the other, you've got a league that seems intent on sabotaging its own future. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. And honestly, I can't look away. The WNBA better figure out fast that Clark isn't the plague. She's their ticket to the big time. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
And you use the word vitalize because you're right. You can't revitalize something that was never vitalized, but the WNBA has totally failed in whether it's not putting her on the Olympic team, not using her in promotions, being hesitant to put her at the forefront of the league. I think the WNBA has missed a huge opportunity, and the only reason, Megyn, that we're talking about it and you're talking about the WNBA is because of Caitlin Clark.
Now here's where it gets really messed up. Some folks are saying this is just how the league is, and that Clark and her fans just can't handle it. Are you kidding me? The WNBA has been around for nearly 30 years, coasting along with their own style of play and culture. Then suddenly, this phenom shows up and steals the spotlight, and everyone loses their minds. You've got people throwing around terms like pretty privilege, like it's going out of style. It's getting nasty, folks.
Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem. I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that. I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege.
Even Sunny Hostin jumped into this mess, talking about how Clark's more relatable because of who she is. Can you believe this nonsense? She actually said, "I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. I do think that she is more relatable to more people." Give me a break. And now we've got some of these veteran players acting like Clark's success somehow erases them. It's ridiculous. But guess what? Clark didn't ask for this drama. She's just out there balling. Here's the bottom line. Clark brought in a level of skill unseen in the WNBA. She exposed the inadequacy of the league on the court and off. Her games are reaching record highs, touching millions of fans, old and new alike, and bringing attention to the sport like no one has ever had. That's not privilege. That's talent. But instead of embracing it, the league's acting like she's the problem.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
And poor Clark? She's caught in the middle of this mess, just trying to play ball. She's never complained, even when she's sporting a black eye from a totally accidental hit. The WNBA had a golden opportunity handed to them on a silver platter, and they're fumbling it like a greased football. Instead of celebrating Clark's success and using it to lift the entire league, they're letting petty jealousies and ridiculous accusations of privilege tear everything apart. It's a masterclass in how to shoot yourself in the foot, and the WNBA's doing it with both eyes wide open. You'd think the WNBA would take a breather from their self-sabotage tour. Want to know how deep this rabbit hole of incompetence goes? You won't believe the garbage the WNBA's trying to sell us about this Clark situation. It's like they're living in an alternate reality where up is down and common sense is a foreign concept. After respected journalist Christine Brennan did her job asking the tough questions to Dejanay Carrington, the league went into full panic mode. And boy, was it a sight to behold.
When you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
Instead of addressing the real issues, they're actually trying to paint reporters as the bad guys for asking questions. Can you believe that? The WNBA Players Association is out here accusing journalists of biased reporting. It's insane. They're throwing around accusatory words faster than Caitlin Clark can sink a three-pointer. Talk about a Hail Mary pass of desperation.
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
But wait, it gets even better. They're threatening to pull credentials from reporters who dare to ask about Clark's treatment. Talk about thin-skinned. It's like they're running a middle school drama club instead of a professional sports league. What's next? Are they going to start handing out detentions to anyone who hurts their feelings? Meanwhile, Clark's out here taking the high road, never complaining. She's not saying a word. She's letting her game do the talking, and it's speaking volumes. The WNBA thinks if they yell "unfair" loud enough, we'll all forget what's really going on. They're acting like if they close their eyes and plug their ears, all their problems will just magically disappear. Newsflash, folks, it doesn't work that way in the real world. Their cover-up is worse than the crime. It's pathetic. They had a chance to address this head-on, to show some leadership and integrity. Instead, they're doubling down and hoping we're all too dumb to notice. Well, guess what? We notice, and we're not buying what they're selling. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if the WNBA is allergic to success. They've got a superstar on their hands, someone who could take the league to new heights, and they're treating her like she's radioactive. It's not just bad business. It's a slap in the face to every fan who's been begging for the WNBA to step up its game.
Right, you can talk all you want, you can do this, but sooner or later you have to respect somebody's game. And the way Caitlin Clark plays basketball has to be respected. And sooner or later, the dam is going to break. In the WNBA, what matters more, money or your feelings?
The bottom line? They're not just dropping the ball, they're setting it on fire and throwing it off a cliff. And if they don't get their act together soon, they might find themselves without a league to mismanage. It's time to stop the excuses, cut the nonsense, and start treating Caitlin Clark like the asset she is. Just when you thought the WNBA couldn't screw up any worse, along comes Caitlin Clark to show them what they're missing. Ever wonder what it looks like when a league actively fights against its own success? Clark's not just changing the game, she's rewriting the whole playbook. Let's be real, Clark's not just good, she's a basketball supernova. We're talking record-breaking viewership and arenas packed to the rafters. And what's the WNBA's response? They're acting like she's some kind of problem child instead of the savior they've been praying for.
They have the highest audience they've seen in 24 seasons in the WNBA games. Televised games with Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever averaged 1.18 million viewers compared to 394,000 for all other games. There were a record 22 games that averaged over 1 million viewers, 19 of which involved Caitlin. So, I mean, you'd think they'd be saying thank you. They're not saying thank you.
Yeah. The numbers are insane, folks. This season, there have been 22 WNBA games that pulled in over 1 million viewers. Guess how many of those featured Caitlin Clark? 19. That's right. Clark's the main draw compared to regular WNBA matchups. It's not even close. But here's where it gets really wild. Advertisers are finally waking up and smelling the cash. The league's seeing a 60% jump in sponsors since Clark joined. You'd think the WNBA would be throwing a parade, right? Nope. And don't even get me started on what she's done for the Indiana Fever. That team was the league's doormat before Clark showed up. Now, their attendance is up over 300%. Clark's turned them from a punchline into a must-see event overnight. Overall, WNBA in-game attendance is up almost double from last year. You think that's a coincidence? Please, that's the Clark effect in full swing. She's not just filling seats, she's changing the whole game.
There's no respect to Caitlin Clark, and it is blowing my mind, and sooner or later, it's going to cost the WNBA everything.
Clark's proving that women's basketball can be must-see TV. She's drawing comparisons to Larry Bird's, Magic Johnson's, and Michael Jordan's impact on the NBA. We're talking about transforming women's basketball into a mainstream sport. And some folks in the WNBA are acting like this is a bad thing. Give me a break. The current season's viewership numbers are the highest the WNBA has seen in over a decade. Let that sink in for a second. Clark's not just moving the needle, she's breaking the machine. And that's the real threat to the status quo. She's showing what the WNBA could be if it got out of its own way. The WNBA better figure out fast that Clark isn't the enemy. She's their biggest ally to success. Now it's up to the WNBA to decide if they want to be part of that future or get left in the dust. TikTok, folks.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Not a female superstar, she is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
The clock's ticking. The WNBA is standing at a crossroads, and they've got a choice to make. Are they going to wise up and embrace Caitlin Clark, or keep playing these petty games and watch their league crumble? It's not rocket science, folks. Clark's the future. Clark's not just a player, she's a phenomenon. But instead of rolling out the red carpet, they're acting like she's the problem. Let's be real, though. Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. She's here to stay, and that's got a lot of people in the WNBA shaking in their sneakers. They can try to ignore her, they can let her get knocked around on the court, but they can't stop her from changing the game. The WNBA better get with the program fast, or they'll be left in the dust wondering what hit them. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.